So, we probably have time for maybe one more topic.
Sure.
So, kind of stepping away from the big stuff and focusing on something fun. Lazer Team. Rooster Teeth put out their trailer for their new movie.
Yeah.
Right? We're seeing, Rooster Teeth has been the name in gaming video for such a long time. And so now they're kind of stepping beyond after the full screen acquisition and kind of pushing into, they've already pushed into anime, but now they're pushing into live action movies, which I think this one's even going to come out in theaters, right?
I think so, to some degree. Yeah, I mean, the trailer is awesome. If you haven't watched it, it's amazing. You should go. It's really funny. Bernie's in it.
I haven't seen it.
Gavin's in it. And some of the other guys. Awesome. And just like, and a lot of the Rooster Teeth personalities make cameos in the trailer and have parts in the movie and stuff like that, but it's like it just looks ridiculous. And like the premise, at least in the trailer, is like this alien ship crashes, right, and there's a suit, but instead of like there being 4 suits and they're all like each one of them takes a piece of the suit. So like somebody takes like the helmet, somebody takes I think it's like a shield.
Right. Somebody has the boots, and then somebody has like the laser.
The laser arm.
So instead of being one superhero, there are 4 crappy superheroes.
right. And so like and each of the things have different powers. One makes you run really fast. One does this, and it's just there's just some line in the trailer. It's ridiculous. Like, why are we called Lazer Team? Only one of us has a laser.
Right.
And anyway, so it just looks great. And you see, like, first off, there's 2 things about this. Number one, this film was funded through Indiegogo last July. So it just finished the funding right after RTX 2014. And it, they broke Indiegogo. It was like, they broke the reward system. So I was talking to Matt, I think it was, and Bernie, and they were talking about how, like, there was one reward, like if you paid like $100, whatever, you could be like, there's one spot to be an extra. And so like, but when they announced that new reward like on stage in their panel or something, like, the first 5 people or whatever to get this can be extras. Anyway, they broke the reward system, and like 1,000 people, or it's something crazy, like 500 people paid to be an extra before like Indiegogo could like stop it, because they all anyway. So it was like and so they ended up like having all those people be extras, and
that's awesome.
It's cool. Yeah.
That's
So anyway, but the point is, like, that film was the largest fan-funded film on Indiegogo ever until like Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk did theirs like last week or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But like you look at that and you see, they were the name, or are the name, and like one of the major names in gaming video and online content creation, and they drove that. They funded that mostly from fans. I'm sure they put their own money into it and everything. And then you see, Full Screen come in and purchase them and probably throw you more money at it. That just whole, I don't know. It's going to be cool to see what that turns into. What like. It sort of, to some degree, validates fan funding for projects like that, for gamers and for that audience. It's very gamer heavy. And then just the fact that they're really good at the whole celebrity personality side of things. They do the live appearances, they do the conferences, they do all that kind of stuff. And seeing that come to fruition in like a major motion picture is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think the way forward for them is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
If I was a Rooster Teeth, it seems pretty obvious, right? Like, they have this model, and whether they're intentionally or unintentionally repeating it over and over again, they're repeating it over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's this idea that, okay, we made a show, right, and it gained in popularity, and so we made more shows, right? And along the way, we picked up people that make shows, and they make shows, and they grow in popularity, and maybe they make more shows.
Yeah.
And and so then it's like, okay, now we're going to move into live action. We'll make a live action movie. We raised money. It went well. We'll make more live action movies.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll empower these things we've acquired along the way to also do live action, or some big, some big, legitimate, in air quotes, spectacular thing that's typically reserved for like large production studios or something. And so I think in my mind, the growth, the way forward for Rooster Teeth is to become that legitimate. They're totally legitimate. I don't know what's a poor word choice, but like that legitimate in the eye of, I'm a 55-year-old Warner Brothers executive, like legitimate production company or whatever. And I think that's what's going to happen and then moving forward is they're just going to keep repeating this model over and over again with bigger and bigger scale.
Right.
So I don't think this is the last Rooster Teeth movie you'll see.
No, I don't think so either. And what's so cool about them, in my mind, is there's a lot of cool things about them, but what's really, I think, great to see is that, like, it's almost like you said, it's like I think what they're doing is a great end goal for other, like, YouTubers and like things to aspire to, where, like, so you look at Matt Hullum, he's the guy who, he's like the CEO, and Bernie, I think his title is like creative director now, but like they were there from the beginning, right? They voiced Church and Sarge, right? It was right there at the beginning. They founded the company with several other people, but their roles on Lazer Team was Bernie was was like one of the stars and producer, I guess, and I don't know if he helped write or not, but Matt directed it, right? And so not only are they sort of like directing this group and sort of like providing vision for a ton of awesome creative people under them, but they're still creating. And I think to some degree that's a really cool thing about them. And you see, all the people that are like creating now, the goal, or I guess like the inevitability isn't that like one day you stop creating. It's like you can grow and build yourself and have a business, but also continue to be incredibly creative and incredibly like adventurous with your career and stuff like that while doing this thing you love. And I think that's a pretty cool thing that they're able to do.
I think the Rooster Teeth model, though, is pretty hard to duplicate. Like, they're obviously some really special group of people. Like, I think it takes a very talented individual to be a voiceover artist, a content creator, a director of a movie, and the CEO of a company. Think about all those things coming together. Like, not everybody possesses that set of skills, but I think if you look at content creators and streamers too, really, who are achieving escape velocity, like I think the natural outcome is to, and I'm going to use the word legitimate again, even though I don't really, it's not inferring that they're not legitimate now, but it's like becoming, like pushing forward into more mainstream or conventional forms of entertainment or roles where you become like a collective, right? And so, you've seen it over and over again. So, Rooster Teeth was a group of guys that became a legitimate company that just grows and grows like a company. I mean, heck, you just had Nerd Fusion announced earlier this week. And what is that? That's a group of streamers, with some YouTube presence, and they're coming together and trying to form something legitimate, and trying to grow that to go from I'm a person with a fan base on YouTube or Twitch to we are a group of people uniting around an idea and building a company. And I think that's the way forward. I think for a lot of these streamers and Let's Players, not everybody's going to be able to do it.
I totally agree. Like, I'll say this real quick. Like, that was a big topic of all of the panels that I saw that were YouTube and Twitch based. They talked about collaboration. The TGN panel was that, the YouTube panel at East, the 3 Black Dot panel at South by. They were just talking about just how like they collaborated with each other, and they're so big now because they started collaborating with each other when they were in the 10K or 20K or 50K, and it's not something that you can really scale by yourself. And it's not as fun either. That was the thing they were talking about. It's like, don't try and do this by yourself. Like, go have fun with other people, play games with other people, like make jokes with other people, and you're gonna have fun doing it. People are gonna see that, and you're gonna grow. And then it's that next step, becoming you're a collective and you do stuff together. Now it's become a business, so we can do more fun things together.
And I think that for things like Nerd Fusion, these other collectives that we've seen, I think that the lesson from Rooster Teeth maybe is not, go become a production company, but be willing to experiment, right? It's very easy, and because of the churn of YouTube and Twitch and how much time it takes and effort it takes, it's very easy to kind of sit where you are and keep doing what you're doing for as long as possible. I think that what Rooster Teeth did is they said we could keep doing Red vs. Blue forever, and to a certain extent they have, right? But on the other hand, they said, okay, but we could also do other things. We could branch out and we could try stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the, who knows how much they've done that just didn't, that didn't work in their minds, that never got off the ground, so we never saw it.
Sure.
I'm sure not everything that they've done has been just amazing. Maybe it has. Maybe
there's.
I'm sure so much is down on the vine. That's the nature of being a creative industry.
But I think that for when I look at these collectives, you look at Nerd Fusion or people like Normal Boots or these groups of content creators that have built these followings. There's just so much potential there to really kind of experiment and say, okay, we have these fan bases now. They've been built around this. What else could we do? Like what else could we try?
Well, yeah, and I mean, even in the YouTube space, if I was a group of Let's Players and streamers, you've got a fan base, you have skills, and you have experience that other people in the industry, even some MCNs, might not necessarily have, right? And so I think an interesting shift is we'll come together, we'll form a collective, we'll work on joint ventures, and our a big part of our goal is to identify new talent and bring them into the fold.
Yeah.
We'll bring those people in and we'll grow as a company.
Yeah.
And that in my mind provides exponentially more value than simply being an MCN.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Rooster Teeth did that, but they did it in such a way that I think is super hard for anybody to repeat because they just wore all the hats.
Yeah.
And I think, but if you
startup,
but if you see people, if you see groups of Let's Players and Twitch streamers and whatever repeat that to an extent, look at if Nerd Fusion's successful, if they even do that, I don't know what.
Right, sure.
But let's say they do that and it works and they grow, and a year from now they've grown from what they are now to 20. And they're bringing in money for the company. They're uniting around a cause. You're just going to see it happen more and more and more.
Yeah.
And you'll see, and I think you'll see collectives of these people emerge that are companies that are acquiring talent and nurturing that talent, and growing that talent for their fan bases, and kind of raising up.
Yeah,
more,
sure.
Yeah, doing more than any one of them could do by themselves.
Right on.
Right. So, all right. Well, I think we're
Future is
basically
Future
That's
is
the
bright.
TLDR.
Absolutely. So I guess we're out of time at this point. But yeah, this was fun. It was
great.
different.
It was good. I liked it though.
Maybe we're just better with three,
Maybe we are.
Martha and I just can't hold it together.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just better if someone else is reading the sheet and asking the questions.
I always do better when you don't make me do stuff.
Right.
Don't make
That's
me do
right.
stuff.
Well, I like the moderator. Take a lesson from the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Right.
You're the Gus of our podcast.
Thank you, Michael.
That's a
Thank you.
compliment.
Works for me.
I will take
Yeah.
it.
Good times.
So we coming back next week?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're gonna do it.
And I think we're gonna try to be here.
Yeah.
You never know. We might be like
backdrop
outside.
I don't know if we can settle down. Once we settle
Yeah.
down, things can get stale.
That's right.
We got to keep breaking into people's homes and recording podcasts in their living rooms.
We don't know whose house we're in right now.
No, I know.
We just there's a staircase.
There's a staircase.
It leads somewhere.
We put our banner in here. Anyway, whatever. So next week.
All right. So
sounds
come
good.
join us next week, where we most likely have a podcast.
Maybe.
Make sure to leave a comment about any of this stuff. We'd love to hear from you.
We would.
Like the video, please, and subscribe to get updates about what we're doing and when we actually decide to put out another podcast or two.
Right.
Or
But
three? No.
maybe.
Probably.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll catch you next time.
See you next time.